for both the JTL files and CSV files, and how to actually generate the dashboard for JmeterScript. So now, first of all, we'll see how to execute the test in GUI mode, which is not recommended, but just to showcase how to actually execute, I am showing you in this tutorial. So I'm opening the JMeter GUI right now. So we already saw how to configure JMeter, and we have also recorded scripts, and we have some demo scripts also for this tutorial. So now, once it is loaded, we'll check how to actually execute.
This conference will now be recorded.
So now JMeter GUI has been launched. It is taking too much time to load. Let's see. Yeah. So now we'll open the file from the recent one. We'll open. Yeah. So just to give you a heads up that we have this script which we can run right now, right away. I'm making some changes, like I'm removing the if controller because we don't need this, as we have already covered these things in previous tutorial, and we don't even need this part, the script recorder, because it is useful during the recording of a particular flow. So now, moving forward. So coming to the script, in this particular script we have just two samplers. First one is a launch URL and second one is the find flights. So in order to run it, we are good to go ahead and run it, right clicking on this one. But before that, we need to make sure that whatever we are running, the result should be stored in a proper way. Because if you directly run it, view result tree will collect all the data. But if you want to analyze it later, you won't find it. So that's why I will add one more listener over here, that is aggregate report, and I am disabling view result tree right now because we don't need it right away, because view result tree basically is useful during the debugging of your script or enhancing your script, because it will collect all the request and response of a particular of all the calls, so that you can analyze whether your scripts are working correctly or not. Okay, so moving ahead, I am running the script for 100 seconds. I'll go for 50 seconds itself, and to run it I will just click on run button. Now once it starts, you can see that calls are going and we are getting the readings also. Something is okay, so that is a thing because we have not checked this forever button. That's why it executed just once all the samplers. So before actually directly executing, first we should make sure that whatever the duration we have mentioned, we have put it over here in the duration text box, and apart from this forever checkbox should be enabled. So now we are good to go ahead So I'm clicking on run button. Now see it started, and the counts are also increasing to just see whether the execution is completed, how much time it is actually elapsed time is. You can actually look at it in the elapsed time text box over here. So this is for the number of errors. Right now we are not having any errors. That's why it is showing as 0. It is 36 seconds, 14 more seconds, and it will stop the test after 50 seconds. 6 more seconds to go. So this is how it works. But the only problem over here is that if you want to check the different calls for, suppose we are having 88 samples for first call, average is 348 milliseconds, median is 326, and so on. But if you want to check whether the distribution of response time is equal or some way it is deviating, so you need to check in the log file, but we have not actually mentioned the file name over here. That's why it will only generate the overall execution time for all the samplers. So in order to save this information, what you can do is click on save table data and give a meaningful name. So suppose this is demo execution 1.csv. I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to that path to check in the demo results. Yeah, so this is the one. I'll open it. It will show the same information in the CSV format. See, but this report is very high level. It is just in the template format. If you want to dig down deeper, you won't be able to do. And for that, what we will do is now we will go ahead with the saving the JTL file itself. So for that we need a folder path. I'm copying this folder path. I'm saving and pasting it over here. After that, give the file name. So demo result 1.jtl. So you can save your logs in either in JTL format or in the .csv format. So both of them will work for you. So now I'm executing it for 20 seconds just to make things quickly. So I'm clicked on the start button. Now it has started, and we are actually seeing that 7 seconds has been passed. Now 10 more seconds to go, and after that we'll check whether the JTL file has been generated or not and what information we are getting in the JTL file. So now the execution has been completed. As you can see, the sample number is lower because we have executed it for lesser time. So we will go to that particular location. So this is your .jtl file has been generated. So we will open this JTL file and see what information it is having. So yeah, so this is your JTL file. So first column is your timestamp, which will be having the timestamp of that particular request in epoch time, which is the epoch time stamp. And after that we have elapsed, which is nothing but the response time for a particular request. And then we have the label, that is the transaction name, then the response code, response message, thread name, and so on. So this is your log file. It will give you a lot of data, like for on the individual transaction response time you can capture over here, and you can check whether the distribution or of your execution of a particular request is as per your standard or not. So now how to check this one? We'll see that in the latter part. So now the JTL file has been generated. So now what we'll do is we'll run the test again and we'll check the result in CSV format. So again, I'm clicking on start button. Now it has started the execution. So both this CSV and JTL file will be having same data and in the same format. It is just actually the formats are different. Just that's it. So we'll check in the CSV file. So now see, CSV file will have the same data. Now see. Now what I said is this will contains the overall execution thing. Like if you want to track down for a particular request how much time it took, what is the distribution, you can check over here. So now one thing is how to check it. So see, if I want to check for a particular transaction, you can go to Excel and actually filter it. So we have two transactions. I am actually worried about flying flights. So I've selected this one. So see, this is your response time over here. So we will actually see in what is the average, that is 391, and again what is the 90th percentile, it is 441 milliseconds. If I want to see how important is this log file, I just want to show you that you can actually track it through graphs. How to track that one is you just have to select this part, right click, and then we have insert, and you can go ahead with any of the chart whichever you want to, and you can see what is the distribution. So in this way it is very helpful and it will give you a lot of information because it will give you a holistic view of the overall execution. So if you want to check, if you see that most of the transaction, it is between 150 to 200 milliseconds, which is good, and few of the transactions are on the higher side, that is 450 milliseconds. So in this way, these log files are important. Even if you want to check in the JMeter, so suppose you have a JTL file and if you want to check the response time at the latter part of the time after the execution, you got just the JTL file. If you want to check how the execution went, so you just can select the listener, browse that particular file, and any of those you can select whether it is JTL file or CSV file. I'm going for JTL file. So this is, it will show you the overall execution thing. And if you want, so same way it will work for CSV also. So this is all it goes with GUI mode. So it is not recommended to actually execute a load test in GUI mode because it will take up all your resources of the PC where you are actually using the JMeter to execute. So what is the alternate option you have is you can actually run it in non-GUI mode. So in order to run it in non-GUI mode, first thing you need to make sure is that you should open your JMX file in GUI mode and do all the configuration and the all the thread properties should be in place and everything in place, and just save it. And after that you need to go to the JMeter folder. So my JMeter folder has been placed in documents. Go to bin folder, click on CMD, write CMD and enter. So it will open the command prompt. So as we discussed in the first session that how to actually execute JMeter thing in non-GUI mode, the command for that is, first you need to go to the bin folder in the command line and then type JMeter, then -n, that is for non-GUI, then minus, that is -t, which is your test plan folder. So for test plan folder I'm going to, so it is in C users, so I'm going to desktop, then JMeter, then I'll choose the JMX file, that is demo.jmx, which we are going to run right now. Then -l, that is your log file path. It should be in the with the extension of the file name. So I'm giving here demo result to non-GUI.gtl. Now I'm going to press enter. So it will start the execution. It will do some pre-execution configuration checks. So now it has started the execution. You will only be able to see this information, that is a very high level summary, that is on the, this is your average response time, minimum, maximum, but it will not tell you which transaction is taking how much time. But if we want to see in that particular folder whether the JTL file has been generated or not. So this is the JTL file. Again, if you want to check whether the JTL file contains the data or not, you just have to go to aggregate report and browse to that particular folder. This is our folder, non-GUI one. We'll select that one and click on open. So now you can see that it will show you the same kind of test result what we have seen during the execution in the GUI mode. If you want to save it again, just click on save table data and save it in your result directory. So this was for the JTL one. So for the same type of execution, if we want to generate the CSV file, we can go ahead and click on and just replace JTL with CSV and just enter. So again, for this one also it will do some pre-checks, and after that it will start the execution. Now it has been completed, so we'll check in that particular folder whether the CSV file has been generated or not. As we can see that CSV file has been generated. You can check the date modified also. It is matching with the current time. So again, if we want to open the CSV file, you just have to go to that particular directory and open the CSV file. So the same way, if you want to check the graphs, you just have to add, go to the listener, then go to aggregate graph, browse, see, This is your aggregate graph. If you want the graph result for both, go to same, and so this is your, as our execution was very limited for 20 seconds, that's why it is showing a very small amount of data over here. So this is how it works for the both GUI and non-GUI execution. So the same way we will do in actual load testing also, as we are having just two samplers. That's why it is showing just the very small amount of data. So moving forward, we'll see actually how to generate the JmeterScript graph dashboard, and we'll check how actually it works.
This conference will now be recorded.
So now to generate the dashboard, first thing we need is JTL or CSV log file and one empty folder where the dashboard will be generated. So currently we have both. So what we did is that I have created a empty folder to generate the dashboard, and we'll see how to actually generate the dashboard. First thing is the command. What is the command actually? So I'm clearing this thing so that we can, sorry, yeah. So in order to generate the dashboard, first thing is similar to how we are executing the non-GUI. We need to go to the CMD, that is command prompt, and we need to navigate until the bin folder of your JMeter where it has been installed. Then we need to write JMeter, then -g, that is for graph. Then give the file path for which you want to generate the dashboard. So it will work for both the CSV and JTL, which has been generated, is irrespective if you have run it on the GUI mode or the non-GUI mode. It just needs the CSV or JTL log file. I'm giving the path. And then we need to give the command as -o, that is for your output folder, and that should be always an empty folder. So I've given all those things and I'm pressing enter right now. It will do some pre-checks. So now it has been completed. We'll go to that particular folder. As you can see, it was empty earlier. So after the JMeter dashboard has been generated, so this is the file which you have to open, that is index.html. You can open it through any of the browser. So I prefer it using Firefox or Google Chrome. And now it is opening. We'll go through the content of the dashboard. So first thing is your source file name, and then the start time and time. It will calculate through the log file, and it will convert the timestamp of which was in epoch to the time where the execution was taken. Then after that, on the left pane, you can see different links or the tabs. That is, first one is for dashboard, second one is for charts, and then there are custom graphs also. So you can even customize your graphs in JMeter dashboard as well. So next thing is, after the test and report informations, we have aptics, which is application performance index. So what aptics is, so we have average response time in 90th percentile for the as a criteria of your responsiveness of your system. But sometimes it is harder to actually analyze by using just average response time and 90th percentile, because if some of your transactions for a particular call is way too high or way too less, then it might impact your average and 90th percentile, and it will not show you the actual picture of your performance criteria of your system. So that's why aptics is a new, as we can say, is a new term in the performance reporting. Few of the uh, APM are also using it, that is like New Relic, and in JMeter they have implemented it from JMeter 4 version. And how actually it is calculated is, basically we have to pass on the uh, there are we have to segregate the uh, your threshold level. That is, first one is the tolerate, how what will be your criteria for where you can actually tolerate the response time, and then it will go to the next level, that is where the actual users will be frustrated. So suppose for a particular call, if you think that SLA should be 1 second, so what you can do is you need to mention your threshold level as from 0.5 to 1 second, then frustration level as 1.5 seconds. So what it will do is it will check the number of calls which are actually in between 0.5 to 1 second, then 1 to 1.5 seconds, then how many calls went beyond 1 second also. So it will create one, there is a formula where it will take all the counts over there and actually calculate the aptics in the which will be ranging between 0 to 1. So the more it is going towards 1, that means your performance is good, and if it is going below 0.5 or 0.3 or 0.2 even, it means that your application performance is very low, and most of the users are very frustrated with the performance on the performance index. So it gives you a holistic view is how the distribution of the users, how actually they are perceiving your application in terms of performance. So after that, on the right side we have request summary, and now we have after that, so on the request summary it will show you how many of your percentage of your calls are uh, error free, or how many percentage are with errors. So in our execution there are no errors, that's why it is showing as 100% OK and 0% KO. As I was discussing about aptics, if you right click on this aptics, it will open the Wikipedia page of aptics. So you can get more details on the wiki itself. So as I said that our so aptics method, how it is calculated, it will actually count how many of your transactions comes under satisfied range, how many of those are going in tolerating range. So this is the formula: satisfied count plus tolerating count by 2, and then the total samples. So if it is beyond 0.75, it is okay, and if it is going below 0.5, it means that you need to actually check your performance index of your application. Okay, so moving on the so next is statistics. So statistics will show you the same data which you are actually seeing in the aggregate report in your JMeter. So if you want to match it, you can even match over here. 35, 35, that is 70. Then we have 90th percentile, 358. So here also 347 and average 351. So here it is 351. This is it about the statistics. You can actually check, and if there are any errors, then it will show you over here, and error details or also it will show in the next section. So this is all about the dashboard. So next is charts. The first one is over time. You can see the different kind of charts over here. So we'll go through one by one. Response time percentage. So the most important one is your response time one. This is your response time percentile graph. Then you have response time overview. Then we have response time duration or distribution also. So in this way you can actually check for different charts in the Apache JMeter dashboard, and it is actually very informative, and you can even customize also depending upon your requirement, and whatever you are customizing you can see over here. So as I have not configured or customized anything, that's why it is not showing anything over here. So moving on, this is all about the JMeter execution, how to do execution in the GUI mode, non-GUI mode, how to actually generate the JTL files or even the CSV file. And we also checked how important is log files to actually get a holistic view of your individual transaction, how much, what is the response time distribution. So after that we also checked how to generate the dashboard. So this is all about for today's session. So moving ahead we will see different topics also, like we will see actually what are the different JMeter functions which we can use, and after that we can also check what are the different kind of correlation we can use. Like we have different kind of correlation such as regular expression. Now after in JMeter latest version we have boundary class value also. As you can see, if you right click on the add post process, you can see that regular expression extractor, then CSS selector extractor, even the XPath extractor, and even the boundary extractor also can be used as part of your capturing the dynamic value. And apart from this we will see the different timers, how to actually use it during the pacing, how to apply Little's law. These all things we'll see in the latter part of the tutorial. So moving on, we are actually signing off for this particular tutorial. Thank you.